Greetings, greetings, greetings. You are now tuned into the vault. Trust Christian own, nothing control everything. Just want to thank you for tuning in live, listening to replay. Always appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listens in the replay. This is the vault. What is that? Episode. What is it? 700 and it's like 745. 745 public banks and private trustees. Private trustees. Gotta make sure the spelling right here. Nevertheless, private trustees. We're gonna talk about it today. It's interesting because we know that a lot of the information that we talk about is one of those things where a lot of people in the public say, "Oh, I don't know about that information," or "It's not private public information." That's why they're called private trustees. They're private trustees operating in the public for sure. So we're gonna talk about it today. Appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listens to the replay. Always appreciate it. Definitely wanted to talk about this. As you all know, we're always inspired to do episodes based off our consultations and things of that nature. So we had a question come in this week about something that the banks were talking about for this particular private trustee. It's like, oh, private trustee, you don't have any public history. You're not out in the public. Okay, great. So we're going to talk about how this private trustee is having to or looking to navigate out in the public right now and execute in the public, and so especially with public financial institutions. And so we definitely want to talk about that today, and that's what we're going to talk about, which is public banks versus private trustees. Now, this might be something, it could be like slightly controversial, where the bank's going to say, how could you just talk about public banks? Is this financial advice? Is it legal advice? Or it's nothing of the sort. This is a conversation about public banks and private trustees and how private trustees are engaging with public banks for the most part and reaching out, and they're running into roadblocks. And we're really thankful for our mentors because they always prepared us to engage with banks. You have to dress the part, you have to look the part, you have to talk the part. How are you going to go into a financial institution and not have that financial education? But people think it's so easy. Man, if I just open up a trust, everything's going to be perfect. How? The people at the bank are not traditionally opening up trust. And if they are, they might be opening up a very specific type of trust. Most people know it's public trust. So if you're a private trustee, how are you dealing with the public with with public when you're dealing with private trust? How are you doing that? And so this could be the question, but it's really not the question. Why? Because a lot of trustees just have to really have the right mindset going into the financial institution, which is we really want to make sure you're going in talking to someone that actually knows how to deal with trust. Public banks traditionally, do y'all hear about them dealing? What is the most common entities they deal with? That's all you gotta do is call the bank and ask them, okay, so what entities are you guys used to dealing with? And you know what that bank is used to dealing with. Are they used to dealing with trust? Sometimes you can ask them that. Hey, who is anyone at the bank open up trust accounts? We're not promoting trust, just to give everybody that, just having a conversation here about it where, hey, some people may say, "Oh man, trust Christian, this is I got this and that and the third, and I'm trying to operate in the public." Okay, well, how are you operating? Did you dress the part? Are you a private trustee or a public trustee? There is private trustee dress. There's private trustee decorum. We have to tell trustees this. This is not something we should have to tell them, but it is something that we have to tell them because this is something that like when people say, "Oh, generational wealth," yeah, this is what people learn at the dinner table. They learn how to dress. They learn a decorum as a private trustee. Then they go into the public and they don't have problems. Where some trustees will come back and say, "Oh, I have a problem in the public." Well, you're having a problem in the public because, first of all, you're really not the problem. Most of you guys, trustees that reach out to the vault, long-term trustees, most of y'all have information that the public people don't have at the bank. They're telling y'all that, and they haven't. And so trustees will run into a thing where trustees are like, "Oh man, I'm having roadblocks. This person doesn't know. This person's not doing what I need them to do." Well, we say, "Oh, you try out go to another financial institution that has that ability to do it." And it's like most people don't even know that different banks, the same name, will have different branches and they have different capabilities. So how is it odd that they have different capabilities? They have different capabilities. So the question is, do you Are you actually doing what that trustee is supposed to be doing? The capabilities of communication, the capabilities of leadership, capabilities of what people call time management. Oh, Trust Christian, I'm trying to catch up. I'm doing my best to become the best time manager. Like, those are things that a trustee is going to be equipped with. You want to equip yourself with those things very, very quickly. There's no way to get around it. There's no way to get around it. Oh, Trust Christian, for real? Look, you can play with it all you want, but some trustees say, "Oh, I don't plan my schedule." Or this, that, and the third. If you don't plan your schedule, you'll find out what not planning your schedule is going to get you. And no one's going to sit here and say, "Oh, I'm in the top 1%. I'm in the 5% with top, elite trustees or X, Y, and Z." And you're not doing what other trustees and elite trustees are doing. It's definitely a fine line, for sure. It's very close in similarity, very different in margin, for sure, on what we're doing. Some of us are waking up earlier. Some of us are being more efficient with our time. Some of us are saying no more. It's just very small little things, but there's still a like we just talked to a trustee. There's a profile. So we're gonna continue on this road. When the private trustees are operating in public, we're not giving legal advice or financial advice, so we're going to keep it clear. But at the end of the day, if you're going to be in a public environment, you got to know how to operate properly as a trustee. That means in your dress, and as well how to actually have a conversation with the individual that you're talking with at the bank. Because most of the time, even when you're talking to people at the bank, unless you're talking to their legal team, you're not talking to their legal team. It's that simple. So if you want to find out if something is truly on paper, you want to find out, okay, can you show me that on paper? Get your legal team to show me that on paper. Sometimes trustees are walking away from things where someone will say something to them, you can't do that, or we don't know how to do that. Okay, great. That bank doesn't need to know how to do it. That branch doesn't know how to do it, or that person doesn't know how to do it. Doesn't mean that that bank doesn't know how to do it. It just means the person at that branch doesn't know how to do it. And so you want to find somebody. That's why it's best to call before you go. Hey, I need to ask some questions on the front end. Blah blah blah. It's things like that. So definitely look forward to hearing from you all at the vault. Christian at trustchristian.com. Once again, it's Christian at trustchristian.com. Definitely looking forward to it. Other than that, trustees, when it comes to this whole topic that we talking about, oh, the public banks trust Christian. How do I deal with the public banks? I'm a private trustee. I got, everybody try to say they got private trust and everything. They got trust. They got trust. They have issues with the bank or whatever. How you gonna have an issue with the bank? The bank knows about it. Are you at the right bank? Are you at the right division? Are you in the private wealth division almost? That's the question. Almost, are you there? If you're not there, then okay. Some people say, "Oh man, trust Christian. What you trying to say? I'm on my way to building wealth. How am I gonna have a conversation with the people at the bank if I'm just building my wealth?" Well, okay, the biggest thing is not about how much money you have. It's definitely not about that at all. It's just more about your communication skills and people actually communicating in the tone of wealth instead of communicating like, oh, I'm trying to get my money right, so I'm opening up a trust. First of all, you're not opening up a trust. It's just real talk. People think they can short conversation it, and when you start short conversation it, what do you think the banker's going to think? That is your trust. The same thing that we talk about at the vault. It's your trust. Oh, it's my trust. It's my trust. That's what the banker thinks. Well, why would you set it up that way? That's what the banker said to one of the trustees. Well, why would you set it up that way? What you think the trustee said? It's none of your business. Y'all don't know that. That's what you're really supposed to say, because it's not. You don't owe the banker an explanation on why it's set up that way. What are you talking about? Why is it set up that way? Why is your estate plan set up that way? We were online with a trustee the other day. The lawyer's gonna tell him, "Oh yeah, you don't have enough money for this." It's like, yeah, they're a good salesman to you. Why? Because clearly, if that's something you want, why wouldn't he sell it to you? Oh man, you don't have enough money for this yet. That's you gonna let a lawyer tell you when you're hiring them. It's like that you're saying, "I'm hiring you to put you in the game, coach," and they're saying, "No, coach, I don't want to go in the game because for whatever reason that they coming up with." That's the difference. And it's just interesting to see trustees get deferred or defunct on, oh man, I'm not going to be able to go in and get this done because of this, blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, first of all, did you or is that person set up trust accounts? Did that person set up business accounts? Okay, if they set up accounts, then clearly they can help you out. You can ask them questions. We always share with trustees to ask questions. Oh, are they used to doing this? Are they not used to doing this? What are they great at? What are they not great at? That's just the bottom line. The what do you guys need to see? Sometimes it's just what it comes down to. And see it on paper. You've seen it on paper as a trustee, or just going with another financial institution. There's many of them. They got thousands of banks. There's nothing wrong with it. But sometimes, people stuck on, oh, I'm going to go to a credit union. You're a private trustee. Do people even know that? Do you even know that you're a private trustee? Do you know the difference between you being a public trustee and a private trustee? Do they know that? Like, that's the question. Because if you know that you're a private trustee, ladies and gentlemen, there's a way you're going to move. Oh, why is this? Why did you set it up that way? Let me ask you that. Why did you set it up that way? Well, first of all, did you set it up? Did you do that as a trustee? The grantor did that, correct? Or do you not know that? Because that's what it comes down to, is do you know those things? Most people don't. And that's why trustee training is so critical. So if you want trustee training, you can reach out Christian@trustchristian.com. Once again, that's Christian@trustchristian.com. You can feel free to reach out. Always feel free to reach out. Christian@trustchristian.com. Other than that, I mean, what are you going to say to yourself? Oh man, I'm having issues with the public bank. Remember one time, y'all can actually go to the episode. It's actual a testimonial for the trustee. Trustee says the bank froze my funds. I mean, the bank froze the trust funds. Right? Okay. So the bank froze the trust funds. Right, because they were trying to come after one of the trustees. Okay, great. And what happened? The bank, they tried to freeze the funds. They took the money out the account, and they found out that, oh wow, we can't do that. Why? Because the trustee said, hey, that's the trust account. You can't just go into a trust account just because they're trustees and go in there when they don't have any type of ownership over it. That's the difference. You don't own the asset. You control it. You don't own it. And that's the difference. No one wants to. It's not even no. It's just. It's such a challenging thing to grasp. It's such a challenging thing to get. Sure, maybe because they've been trained their whole life to own something, but that's the only excuse that they can give. Oh, I've been trained to own. Otherwise, when you understand that there's no benefit to owning anything, then why would you want to own something? You just want to control it as an asset manager. That's how the country's being run, through asset managers. Everything's through an asset manager. Why? Because they're focused on assets, not liabilities. Just like people buy houses for assets, you're an asset manager. But what are you being a manager of? How are you managing those assets? What are you managing? Are you managing assets, or are you owning assets? I'm gonna own it. I'm gonna own it as a tacit owner in a tenant position. Like we were literally looking at the other day. Like, what's the difference between being a tenant on the public side? Or what's the difference between being a tenant in the public side, where you're fully liable, and on the private side where you control it and there's a company or a family estate or a trust that owns the assets? What's the difference? There's liability. That's the difference. Who's liable? So we hear a bunch of stuff on the internet. Oh yeah, you gotta put your assets in the trust. That's what people are saying. Oh, put your assets in this, that, and third. It's the holding company. First of all, why do you think they have public entities? If trusts are so powerful, why don't people just use those in the public? Why don't you just say a bunch of trusts, like Standard Oil Trust, just operating in the public? You don't even know the Standard Oil Trust anymore. You know the Rockefeller Foundation. That's what you know. Because these industries, things change. But they also have built a secondary entity, a third entity, a fourth entity, a fifth entity. Y'all don't even want to know how many daggone trusts these guys got when we talk about like a Rockefeller or something like that. Like, why would they not have a bunch of different ones? It's not this that's not for the public. It's private now. After, we would say, like, exactly, the guys like Standard Oil, when they were in the public, trusts were in the public, they were like, the government for whatever we're going to say, the government, no condemnation to the government, but the government definitely came after major trust. They came after private trust. And so they went and hid in the private, which they're supposed to. And now you see public entities such as what? LLCs and C Corps. It's still a contract, but you see it doesn't have the same structure. It doesn't have the same structure as a trust contract. It's a different type of structure. It still has an owner. It has a manager. Does it have a beneficiary? Yes, it does. But how does it look when it comes to who's the owner? We could talk about this all day because this is all it is. It's just ownership and liability. The country trying to write you off, but you can't write yourself off. Why? Because you got to understand that you're a trustee. You're not in commerce. Your body could never be in commerce. Your body is not in commerce. It's just bottom line. Some people may say, "Oh yeah, your body's in commerce." Your body is not in commerce. They have entities. They have persons. It's just bottom line. Everything is a person. It's a legal person. It's a person. There is no bodies in public. So we want to be very clear, and you better be clear when you're talking to anyone in the public about that. These people are talking stuff, but at the end of the day, it's a free country. Your body is free. Especially if you're you're free. If you're free, you're free. So it's none of that, oh, your body's not free. But when it comes down to it, is do you understand, okay, I'm a trustee of entities that are operating in commercial valley. Are you operating in that capacity? Are you operating where, you understand, I'm in the commerce right now. Right, not you. Do you have a name? You see what a name is? A name is a person. A name is an entity. That's why they ask you, when we say they, y'all know who we're talking about. They say, what's your legal name? Because it's not about your natural name. So when trustees come at us with that, oh, I got a natural name. I don't, I got a spiritual name. I'm going to change my name to my spiritual name in commerce. That's what the Moors used to do. Oh man, I'm going to change my spiritual name, in the public. And so now people in the public will know me as this. Yeah. Okay. And y'all don't even want to know. Whether y'all know it or not, their heart might be right, but their mind isn't right. Their brain doesn't have the right information, which is they really want to operate from a wealthy mindset, which is they want to minimize their liabilities. Y'all know what their liabilities are, and so they want to minimize that. Oh man, I'm going to go tax exempt. I'm going to go exempt because I'm a church. I'm doing spiritual service now. I'm doing spiritual service. Over here trying to talk about they doing spiritual service. You doing spiritual service, but you're not doing it in a trust. You doing it through your name now. You want to go there? Let's talk. Because that's what they doing. They doing it through their name. And when we say their name, we're talking about what they said was their spiritual name, and now they're utilizing that in commerce. So when you're utilizing your spiritual name in commerce, what do you think is going to happen? You just put your spiritual name in commerce. It's going to get taxed. It's going to have some type of reporting liability or stuff like that. But oh no, Trust Christian, I don't want to be in commerce anymore. That's what they say. Y'all don't want to hear this. That's what they say. Oh, I don't want to work anymore. It's really what they want to say. They don't want to work, but they don't say it like that. They say, I don't want to have my name in commerce. That's what they say. It's like, okay, well, if you don't want to work, you could always change your profession. You could always change what you're doing. You could always have something else to do. But those people that are stuck, we're talking about the ones now that are like, oh man, I got something going on, but I be feeling crimped in the hourglass. I'm over here making money, but I'm doing it through the government name, and I want to switch it to the spiritual name so I can have a tax law. I can minimize my liability, and I'm not getting taxed to death because I'm doing it through my personal name, right? But then let's talk about this. It's only 2 steps. I don't want to hear it's that easy. So if you're doing business in your personal name, if you're doing business in that name, doing business with that name, if you open up a business, you, quote unquote, the spiritual name or the personal name opens up a business, that opens up a new entity. It opens up a new franchise of your spirit. It opens up a new entity. You can just do business through that for the rest of your life. Then you're not thinking about the personal. But how many people are thinking that simple? So once you think that simple, then it's that simple. But because people went to public school and it's like, oh yeah, my teacher, they didn't tell me about how to operate a business. They only told me that if you stand up here and you pass a test and get good grades, you're going to make it in life. That's what their job was. Their job was not to give you the business education simply. Oh, think about it. In public school, they talking about socials? No. And if they are, what they talking about? For you to get debt? They don't really talk about that in public schools. We're not condemning it. We're not against it. We're not for it. We're just talking about the information that's being given out in these institutions. If you understand the information that's coming out of these institutions, you can decipher and say, okay, well, some of the information is useful, but at the end of the day, there's information that you needed in the real world, such as what we're talking about right now. Are you operating as a business or are you operating as a personal? This literally separates the elite from the middle class. You say, oh man, Trust Christian, what separates an elite from the middle class? The elite are operating in business, and no matter what, they're 1099 in everything. They're making it a point to operate in contracts, not operate as a personal liability. It's that simple. Oh man, Trust Christian, really? Think about it. If you're not liable, then you in a position where you're in position of power. People that are in liable positions are they in positions of power? And it depends on the liability. Because some people say, oh, if you buy a house, it's an asset. I could write off the interest. Think about how they talk. They're writing off the interest. But that's most of where the payment's going anyways. Why do you think you could write off the interest in a personal position? That's the difference. Is understanding, okay, so I got to do things from a business position. And I got to figure that out. And most people haven't been trained. And that's where they run into a brick wall. And that's on them. Bottom line, that's on them. But when you get to the point where you say, okay, I got to figure something else out. I figure something else out. I'm on the side of the fence of trusteeship now because I'm in a position where I understand I got to stop doing personal stuff. I'm doing some business stuff. And that means that I'm moving in a proper business fashion. Bottom line. Is it that simple, Trust Christian in the vault? Of course it's that simple. It's definitely that simple. It's definitely that simple. But oh man, Trust Christian, I don't know what I want to do as a business. That's all it is. What you gonna say? You gonna fail at it? You ain't even started yet. So how you know you gonna fail? That's the first one. But before you get to how you gonna fail at the venture, what are you doing? And so that's where we talk to trustees. Okay, you're a trustee. You say you're a private trustee. What are you a private trustee of? What business? Do you even know the business that you're a private trustee of? Does the trust have does it manage more than one business? Does it operate more than one business? The trust is a legal person just like me or you. It just can't drive the car. What are we talking about? It can buy, it can sell, it could get property. Like you could do everything we're talking. That's the same thing for a corporation on the public side. That's the same thing for a corporation on the public side. They can buy cars, correct? Yeah. They can get credit on them, correct? Yeah. So it just can't drive the car. That's the spiritual being. Who's driving the car? Yeah, y'all. If y'all want to go deep into that, oh, who's the driver legally on paper? We're not talking about that because that could be the case. Who is the driver? Because the driver has been turned into a commercial legal term now. It's been turned into a commercial legal term. So what are you gonna do? Are you gonna look forward to saying, okay, I gotta tighten up, and I gotta make sure I dress the part when I go in and with the bank? Like, sure, some people are like, oh, I just got off work. Yeah, but you want them to treat you like a trustee, not a person that just got off work. Like, we shouldn't even have to say this, but we'll say it because we have no problem with saying it. Because we understand trustees might have that mentality, oh yeah, I just got off of work, I'm just going to run into the bank for the trust and stuff for the family estate. You got to set the standard for the bank to know not to play around with you, not to come at you sideways and actually treat you with some dignity and respect. Oh, Trust Christian, for real? You going that far? Hey, look, trustees, for all y'all listening, look, y'all want to know the truth, we letting y'all know. Some trustees, they come back with the results. Trust Christian don't come back with the mixed results. We come back with consistent results every time. But at some of the trustees, they find out, oh wow, I see what you're saying, Trust Christian. Like I thought when I wore this outfit, I got a different type of response. When I wore this outfit, I got a different response. Not only that, when I just came in there and I just kept it simple and I kept the conversation simple and I knew who I was talking to and they knew what I was talking about because I was asking them questions, then you understand what you're getting. It's not a hard thing. It's a really easy thing. It's a very smooth thing. You know what you're getting consistently. I gotta go in here. I gotta be quiet. I gotta talk to them. I have to make sure that they are. I gotta double check their work. Wow, how you literally think about that. The banker makes less money than supposedly what your family estate has if you have the right mindset. So how could you not expect that you might have to double check their work to say, hey, did you get all the numbers right? Everything's right. Okay, now you did your job as the banker for our family estate or for our business. That's how it works. See, a lot of people don't want to hear the mentors trained us, and this is real simple. A lot of people say, oh, Trust Christian, how does it work, Trust Christian? We're going to tell you straight up. The mentors was like, you need to interview the bank. If you don't get nothing else from this episode, you got to interview the bank. You might do that through a phone call. You might do that in person. But you got to interview the bank. Some people, oh, I know how to interview the bank, Trust Christian. You got to interview the bank. Interviewing the bank. Are you guys familiar with this? Are you familiar with that? Who do I need to talk to? Okay, great. You do this? Okay, great. Are you familiar with these? Okay, great. Okay, matter of fact, can you tell me like why some things don't happen? Well, yeah, why doesn't that happen sometimes? Why doesn't that happen? Do you know that? Most can't say that. And that's the thing. Do you know that? Appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listening to replay. Always appreciate everybody tuning in live, listening to replay. Feel free to type into the chat where you're listening live or listening to replay from. We appreciate you all. Feel free to touch bases with us, Christian at trustchristian.com. We look forward to hearing from you all for consultations, trustee training. Looking forward to hearing from you all. Peace and joy.